Have you ever wondered why so many seniors who remarry after 70 end up feeling regret instead of happiness? At first, remarriage in later life looks like a beautiful second chance. A chance to have companionship, to share dinners, and to not feel alone at night. But once you cross into your 70s, the picture changes. What begins with love can quietly turn into financial chaos, emotional struggles, or even painful legal battles. Now let me be clear, this is not about scaring you or turning you against love. It's about wisdom, awareness, and protecting the life you've spent decades building. Because too often, seniors only realize these truths when it's already too late, when the savings they counted on are gone, when the stress becomes overwhelming, or when family relationships fracture. So before you walk down the aisle again, I invite you to stay with me until the very end. Because the final reason we'll cover may completely change the way you think about love, trust, and independence after 70. And it might just save you from a lifetime of regret.
Number 1. Financial vulnerability. At first, love in your 70s feels like a blessing. Someone to share meals with, someone to sit beside at night, someone to bring comfort in the quiet hours. But what many older adults don't realize is that remarriage at this stage can quietly unravel the financial security you've worked decades to build. Here's why. Marriage is not just about love, it's also a legal contract. The moment you remarry, your assets become tied to your new spouse. That means if they carry medical debt, unpaid bills, or have children with financial expectations, you're suddenly part of that world, whether you intended to be or not. And it doesn't stop there. Remarrying can affect your Social Security benefits, survivor benefits, or Medicaid eligibility. I've spoken to widows who were shocked to discover their income dropped overnight, simply because they signed a new marriage certificate. And then there's inheritance. Maybe you've spent years planning to leave something behind for your children or grandchildren. But remarriage without careful legal planning can shift those assets to your new spouse or their family. Even if you trust your partner, relationships change, families clash, and promises break. Suddenly, your legacy may slip through your fingers. Take the story of Evelyn Parker, a 74-year-old widow from Texas. She remarried a kind man she met through her church group. What she didn't know was that he had outstanding medical debt and little savings. Within 2 years, Evelyn was dipping into her retirement fund to cover his expenses. Under pressure, she revised her will, leaving her children heartbroken and financially unprotected. What started as comfort turned into constant stress. The lesson is clear. After 70, financial stability is more than just money. It's peace of mind, dignity, and the ability to live on your own terms. Remarriage may bring companionship, but without planning, it can cost you the security you've spent a lifetime earning.
Number 2. Health responsibility overload. When you remarry after 70, you're not only sharing companionship, you're also stepping into someone else's health journey. And let's be honest, by this stage of life, most of us already have our own health challenges. Maybe it's arthritis, high blood pressure, or diabetes. Managing our own doctor visits, medications, and lifestyle adjustments can feel like a full-time job. Now imagine adding another person's medical needs on top of that. More appointments, more medications to manage, more emotional labor. It might begin with something small, helping a spouse remember their pills or steady themselves getting out of bed. But over time, those little tasks can grow into round-the-clock caregiving. And here's the hard truth. Caregivers often neglect their own health. Studies show that older adults who care for sick spouses are more likely to skip their own checkups, eat poorly, lose sleep, and suffer isolation. Over the years, this can shorten your lifespan instead of extending it. Take the story of Margaret Wilson, who remarried at 76. At first, her new husband brought joy, laughter, and companionship. But within a year, he suffered a stroke. Margaret suddenly found herself lifting him, managing his medications and scheduling therapy sessions, all while ignoring her worsening knee pain and poor vision. Within months, she was exhausted, depressed, and on the edge of collapse. The lesson is simple but powerful. You can't pour from an empty cup. Before you say, "I do," again, ask yourself honestly, am I ready, willing, and able to take on another person's healthcare needs every single day? If you hesitate, honor that feeling. Your health matters just as much, maybe even more, at this stage of life.
Reason number 3, legal complications. This is one of the most overlooked dangers of remarriage after 70. When two people find love again later in life, it feels like a blessing. But the law doesn't just see love, it sees contracts, rights, and obligations that can ripple through your entire family. Take inheritance, for example. A new spouse may automatically gain legal rights to your estate, sometimes ahead of your children. Social Security survivor benefits, something many Americans depend on, can be reduced or even eliminated after remarriage. And medical decisions? By law, a new spouse could have the final say in your healthcare, even overriding adult children who've been by your side for decades. Let me share a story. Margaret Johnson from Ohio remarried at 81 to a man she trusted completely. But when she fell ill, her new husband gained full legal control over her medical care. Her daughter, who had been her caregiver for years, was suddenly cut out of the picture. The result was a painful court battle over treatment choices and inheritance, leaving the family fractured and resentful. Here's the hard truth. Remarriage is not just romance. It's a legal contract with far-reaching consequences. Taking the time to create a will, set up a trust, or designate power of attorney isn't unromantic. In fact, it may be the greatest act of love and protection you can give your children, grandchildren, and yourself. Because love should bring peace, not battles in a courtroom.
Reason number 4, loss of personal freedom. Ask anyone over 70 what they value most, and many will tell you the same thing. Freedom. The freedom to wake up when you want, to enjoy a slow cup of coffee in silence, to travel when it feels right, and to live life on your own terms. That kind of independence becomes priceless as the years go by. But remarriage, even with the best intentions, often changes that. Suddenly you're adjusting your routines, sharing your space, and compromising on the little things. Like what show to watch at night, when to eat dinner, or how holidays are spent. And while these may sound small, over time they can chip away at the peace and independence you've worked so hard to build. Take Helen Parker, a 76-year-old widow from Florida. At first, she loved the companionship that remarriage brought, sharing laughter, meals, and vacations. But slowly, she realized her quiet mornings were gone. No more peaceful walks at sunrise or solo trips to visit her sister in Georgia. Every decision became a negotiation. For Helen, what started as joy began to feel like a series of little losses. Here's the lesson. Companionship can be wonderful, but freedom and peace of mind often outweigh the comfort of constant partnership. At this stage of life, protecting your independence isn't selfish, it's an act of self-respect. So ask yourself this: would giving up your personal freedom truly make you happier or lonelier in a different way?
Reason number 5, financial entanglement. When you remarry in your 70s or 80s, it's not just hearts coming together. It's bank accounts, retirement funds, and sometimes even debts. And merging financial worlds at this stage of life can get complicated very quickly. Think about it. You may have assets you've worked decades to build. Your home, your pension, your social security, maybe even savings for your grandchildren's education. Remarriage can blur those lines. Suddenly, your spouse's debts or poor money habits might put your nest egg at risk. Even well-meaning choices, like helping a partner's adult child, can drain resources you had planned for your own family. Take Robert Jenkins, an 82-year-old from Ohio. After remarrying, he found himself paying off his new wife's medical bills, covering expenses for her grown son, and even selling the lake house he had dreamed of passing down to his daughter. Later, he admitted with deep regret, "I thought I was just gaining companionship. Instead, I gave away half my life's work." Here's the truth.
Remarriage is not just a romantic commitment, it's a financial contract with real consequences. Without careful planning, like updating wills, drafting prenuptial agreements, and setting clear estate plans, you could unintentionally jeopardize your own security and your family's future. So ask yourself, are you entering a new chapter of love or opening the door to financial risk you may never recover from?
Now let's step back and reflect. By the time you reach your 70s, life isn't about proving yourself anymore. It's about protecting your peace. Companionship is meaningful, but it doesn't always have to come in the form of marriage. It can be found in friendships, family bonds, community, and even the simple joy of spending time with those who truly care for you. Independence at this stage isn't loneliness. It can actually be freedom. The freedom to wake up when you choose, to travel when you want, to enjoy your home without compromise. You've already lived a life that proves your worth. You don't need a marriage license to validate that. So before you say, "I do," first say to yourself, "I deserve." You deserve joy, peace, and the right to rest after decades of giving to others. Make choices rooted in self-trust, not fear or doubt. And now, I'd love to hear from you. What lesson stood out most today? And how will you use it in your own life? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. Your support helps us continue bringing you content that truly matters.